Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy. P-Funk. Oh, I'm naked as a Jaybird out here. Nothing on but my hoodie and my pyramids. Doing what I do for you. Just getting a little late in the morning. I get the sun glare coming up. Let me get this lesson in. It's a continuation of my last one. The title is going to be How a Sage, aka I, View Ignorance in Others. Should be interesting. Let's go. Writers of 25 Rules to Live by, a storyteller, story with a message, message, a story for life. I only give you life lessons, and you tune in and receive them. I hope it's working out for you. I appreciate you. Let's do what we do. Right Thinker's mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and hopefully motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission, to get you to that point to know thyself, because I want all right thinkers to do just that. And I'm gonna give you all the material information you need to make that happen. We call it what's they call it, bread life, or that thing they give you 365. I got a lesson for you every day, so I'm here to feed you knowledge that you can use. Let's go. Know thyself is the question. If you don't have the answer for yourself, it's rhetorical, but tune in for me. That's what I do for you. I can help you with just that. Why? This is the point. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Avoid them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows, but knows not that they know, is spiritually asleep. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake them up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. The person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right? Think of know thyself. And to my eye, be true. I told you before we started the title of this, right thinkers. Let's talk about how a sage, aka I, view ignorance in others. I get a little annoyed, but I'm getting better at understanding it and just dealing with what it is. I just did a lesson about how to teach those who don't want to be taught and those who, rather remain ignorant. So this is a quick lesson on how I view ignorance in those people. All right. Now, true happiness comes when what? When there is detachment. Understand this, from what? Objects and worldly relationships, be they considered pleasurable or a source of pain. And when there is steadfastness, steady ground, hold on to what you believe is right. In what? In your inner self. Right thinking philosophy has been my concept for over 10 years now. I'm just starting to let people in on it. Why? Because I had to perfect it, manifest it for myself before I gave it to you, like I always do. Before I give it to you, I got to sample it. So it's good to go now. That's why I'm giving it to you. But this concept here is a good one. When these qualities have been developed, which is what? Peace and joy can be what? Experienced when? At all times. That's living in that state of bliss, that peace state, that calm state that I like to start my day off with, and I get there. Now, the only question is, how long can I stay there before somebody knock me off it and I got to get back on it? So I want to get better at not being able to get knocked off it. That's what steadfast meaning. I'm grounded. I'm not to be moved. When I get there, I'll be a bad man. But that's the goal. That's the idea. Watch this. Now, peace and joy can be experienced at all times, such as in a sage. Okay? True happiness and peace is what? Experience when the mind is what? Not affected by the waves of what? Sexual desires, pleasures, or even pain. I'm exempt to those things. Why? Because I detach myself from making that be what I live for. Okay, it's not a criteria to make the, like I say, it won't move my meter one way or another. At one time, you could move the needle. Every now and then I'm still movable, but when I get steadfast, that needle won't move. I will be just like my ass feather, straight. Now, but therefore, watch this. Even through the pain, it don't make a difference. Good, bad, don't make a difference. Understand that. Therefore, a sage is said to what? Be beyond the world, peace, independent, and radiant, peaceful, abiding in what? The self always, independent, knowing him or herself to be an actor in the theater of what? Creation, life. And you radiating what? The peace, love, and joy that is experienced from what? Being united, the yoga concept, with the source of all, God. I tell you, the idea of being anointed, Christhood, reaching the level of Nihas, is to know thyself and God are one. That's the goal of all spiritual beings that's in the flesh. Yeah, I worship Jesus Christ because he did it. He told you you can do the same thing too. I'm telling you why. After I did it, all I wanted to do is now to get you to do it. Why? I know the benefits of it. Sorry about that. I get excited. You know the deal. They get to be God. I just got little, yeah, and you should. Thus, listen, a sage is a humble, excuse me, a sage is as humble when I want to be as a blade of grass, because he or she, again, knows that what? Human existence is fleeting and fragile. It ain't forever. So don't get attached to this life. Why? It's going to end. This is temporary. Don't get caught up in the world. Why? You ain't going to be here but so long. What you should be caught up in is you knowing yourself, so that when this world is over, you may get to go to the other one. If not, you'll be back to this one again. It's called, you'll find out. Yeah, reincarnation. All right, but where we at? We call it the afterlife. No, I lost my place. Okay, here you go. So when you get in contact with God, thus, watch this. The sage go through all this. Life is fleeting. Understand that. Don't get attached to it. A sage, watch this, views what? The pride, arrogance, and egoism in who? The unenlightened personalities as manifestations of what? The state of ignorance of those persons. I see it all the time. I don't like it. Best I could, try to help out. But I see it. And thus is filled with what? Boundless compassion and forgiveness for others, and have a deep-rooted desire to what? Elevate, alleviate their pain and suffering. By how? How can I alleviate your pain and suffering? From spiritual ignorance to spiritual enlightenment. That's what it do it. By showing them what? The way to what? Self-discovery, aka spiritual enlightenment. Know thyself, which is what? Is the supreme eradicator of all miseries. You can't be blissed out with misery. You can't be blissed out agitated. You can't be blissed out being ignorant of yourself. This, the sage, is what? Not attached to what? Anything in the physical world, and does not need anything from the physical world to what? Experience peace and happiness. Therefore, a sage is what? Free from the world and what? Any pain or sorrow which the world could inflict on those who are ignorant of that fact of themselves. Yeah, I go through the wrinkles, I go through everything, but I'm dealing with it a whole lot different and better than I would if I didn't have the knowledge of myself. I can't stop the situation. I don't control none of that, but I do control me and how I handle all those situations. That's the difference. That's what sage and self-mastery is all about. Me having it, doing it. I'm just trying to teach it to others so they can gain it and attain it themselves. Thus, a sage is what? Beyond, watch this, all karmic entanglements. You reap what you sow. As long as I'm doing the right thing in every situation I'm confronted with, treat people right, do right, take care of my business on the right way, I have no karmic kick coming. Why? Because I get blessed. Karma comes for those who do things that they're going to have to be dealt with for. When you do the right thing, you get blessed. Get the picture? So if you got karma, you got a problem. If you got blessing, you got to worry about karma. Why? When you live in righteous life, watch this, even while living in modern society, which today, right now, I took that 10,000 year concept, put it to use, and I'm doing it right now. Many people consider what? Themselves to be what? Free individuals. Yet, what happened? They do not pursue their goals or act out their true feelings because why? They are what? Afraid of what others may say or feel about them. Number one problem. If you worried about what somebody think and feel about what you're doing, you can't be a right thinker. Why? We don't base what we do on that. So that's another issue you can eradicate by don't concern yourself. I see people advertising how to not care about other people think. Simple. Just don't. So calm down. That shouldn't be hard to do. But if you have an issue with that, practice that. Now, they are afraid. What they're afraid of? Embarrassment, rejection, or being otherwise hurt by others. If you're insecure, if you can't handle yourself and conduct yourself where I am who I am, if I make a faux pas, if I make a bad whatever, I'm got to be responsible for that. We've all been embarrassed. We've all been in situations where we didn't like, but that's no reason for you to do dumb stuff. Being rejected. We've all been that too. These are things in life that if you let that run you, you're going to be suffering. Again, that's what brings on the suffering. These concepts and these characteristics that you just can't seem to get past causes your suffering now. Worrying about being hurt by others, if you trust them, if you invest in them, yeah, you run the risk of being hurt. Why? That's just human nature. We are who we are. When you don't put yourself in that predicament, they can't hurt you. I don't want to have to rely and depend on somebody and they're going to let you down every time. Put your faith there, put your understanding where it needs to be, and take care of your own business and what you can't handle, he'll back it up for you. My favorite pastor at my church, one of the associate ministers, my man, he said his favorite phrase, he'll make a way where there ain't no way. I love that because, yeah, that's true. Moving on. Now, why is that? This is because what? They haven't egoistic. Whenever you want about you, that's the ego. It don't like to be embarrassed. It don't like to be rejected. All those things that you don't like, that's because you live in the egoistic state of mind and egoistic need for what? Acceptance. And this need, what? Dominates their lives and determines what? Their limitations, their feelings, and their thoughts. They live life in fear. And I tell you all the time, that fear is the acronym for what? False evidence appearing real. You make it up and you believe it in your own mind that you created that fear. David and Goliath. Fear, you create Goliath, be David and slew him, whatever, but you handle that. Fear should not be a hindrance for you living your life. You can't live in fear. Why? And they do not realize that what? Their full potential of self-discovery of the deeper self. Why? The fear. Fear is a deterrent. The ego don't want to rise. It wants to stay where it's at. And that's what you feel. Doing something other than what your ego self wants. I see it all the time. I'm trying to help you with that. That's my point. Don't get offended or mad at me if I point out your ignorance in your egoistic concepts that you should work on. I'm just trying to help you. I do. I tell myself, I work on me first. So before I start pointing at you, oh, trust me, I done did mine. Moving on. Let me wrap this up. I got a little bit more to go. Oh, yeah, I better go. Now, also, the sage is what? Free from sexual desires, which will impel the soul to what? Varied experiences looking for, even after death, and lead to what? reincarnation. So the sage is what? Also free from the cycle of death, the cycle of birth and death, aka reincarnation. Why is that? Because when you live in righteous and virtuous life, when death comes to the physical body, you ain't worried about that. Why? The spirit is taken care of. You have knowledge of self. You know that self. Okay, that's why. And if you just hope and praying that it just happened for you, it won't. So you got to do something. Okay, and hoping and praying ain't gonna get it done. A sage can watch this, can relieve them from their misery. Why? Because he or she is what? The embodiment of experience which nullifies what? Or neutralizes all pains and sorrows of human existence, aka with enlightenment. That's tough. The pains and sorrows of human existence exist only, you ready for this? Because you believe you yourself to be the ego personality. Gotta stop here, go again. I hate stop, but I try to get this point across. I want to drive the message. Hope you get the message as we go along. So when you think of yourself egoistic, you causing again. The ego is the man with a hatchet to his head. That should tell you all right there. And if you have an egoistic personality, which most all of us have because we were born with that, we have to rise above it. That's the lower nature. It's okay to have it, but you can't continue having. You shouldn't be 60 years old and still live an egoistic lifestyle. Expect to go. No, you got to be the lost your mind. Sorry about that. Get back. I'm trying to show you how to eradicate it. And I'm doing just that to try to get you to understand that's what sages do. I got the job, the title, because that's what I do for you. You believe that what? The circumstances and the situations of your life is what? Real and abiding. Why? Due to your ignorance of your higher self. I tell you that all the time. There's no secret. And what you mean by that? When the ego self does wrong and puts itself in a bad predicament, it don't want to be responsible. But you got to live through that. So if you let your ego run you, that's self-destruction. Okay, that's not good. And when you believe that every circumstance situation you live in is real, going by, no, that's because you're ignorant of your higher self. This level of physical world is just one of the lowest level of our spiritual beings. We're in the physical body. This body ain't gonna last, but we need to be conscious of our what? Spiritual being, the inner self, aka higher self. Moving on, I'm sorry. Now, a sage can show right thinkers the way to what? Discover the absolute reality which transcends ordinary human existence by knowing thyself, practicing righteous and virtuous living on a day-to-day basis. You put that in your life, implement it, and you'll see the difference. Trust me. Being detached, I'm about to take it home now, does not, excuse me, being detached really does not mean that there is no spiritual enlightenment. The spiritual enlightenment makes it the way that you can detach. Why? You know better. You know not to occupy or get attached to stuff that's fleeting. Understand that. You ain't living for worldly things. Detachment without spiritual insight leads to what? Greater ignorance. Okay? And what? More pain for you, the individual, as well as society. Because we keep doing the same thing. I ain't going there. Detachment, stick to the lesson. Detachment is practiced as what? A spiritual discipline for what? Retaining the mind, or excuse me, retraining the mind to what? Let go of what? Its illusions and to attach to that which is real and abiding, your higher self, your ego self ain't going to get it done. Therefore, detachment does not mean to separate from any loved ones or your possessions. No, don't get stupid. I'm going to read everything. No, whoa, one pump your brakes. It just means don't let that be the focal point. Like we got money is the new God. We live for money. We don't live for God. God fear it, God service. We live to serve God. I don't live for money. How many people say, "Oh, he crazy"? Blah, blah. Yeah, I know that, but if you think money first, then that's just who you are. What you're about. I don't think money first. I think God first. I used to think money first, so it ain't a new concept. Moving on. It does not mean when you detach from things. It doesn't mean detaching from what desires or possessions of objects in search of happiness, and detaching from what it just means detaching from the illusion of loved ones as sources of happiness and abiding realities. I can get to my personal relationship, but brothers and sisters, I love them from a distance. We don't have to be cool. No, no, no. But when you in need, that's what family do. Then when you need them, they ain't got to be there for all you. No, no, no. They sure ain't be there to make you happy. You can kiss that one goodbye. So let's go. I'm almost done. There is no object in this world can bring you abiding peace other than your inner self. Just as there is no person or loved one who can bring you again abiding peace and joy. In the end, all human personalities are what? Just like yourself, souls wandering in ignorance who will someday leave the body, which is going to die, and what? Move on to their spiritual journey, either back home or back to another body, aka reincarnation. So why be attached to them? Why believe that they are what? Sources of happiness. Okay, another good one. So why grieve when what? When they die. Not that you're not gonna miss them. No, just I'm not gonna freak out over somebody dying. They die every day. Just because I know you and your loved one, don't change it. You just like it. I'm gonna die too. So last time I freaked out was at my old man's funeral because I wasn't nowhere near light and I was just lovingly missing my old man. I was ignorant and I showed out. I'm proud of that. Why act as if, watch this, they existed, but now will when they die? You didn't deal with them, you didn't have nothing to do when they die. Oh, you fought on. My cousin passed, I ain't seen him in years, but out of respect, I wanted to pay my last respects in death. That's what that's about. You get a chance to symbolically say goodbye to the body because the spirit is no longer there. So we understand that. Well, I didn't then, I do now. That's why I ain't caught up in all that nonsense. I'm in the funeral. We talking, laughing, reminiscing about old times. Sorry, Mike, but that's what we did. In the current understanding, watch this, of human relationships, there are what? No family members. In reality, you are not the body. No. Therefore, you have what? No parents or siblings. In reality, it is what? The body that has these relationships, and these occur why? As passing events in the dream resu. RESU. We about to get into that. I'm not trying to know what that is. I just saw it a little while ago. But that means the dream cycle, meaning every time you reincarnate into another body, you go through another phase. That's all. Why should you become elated? Watch this. When you acquire an object of desire, if I get my red rose, I'm gonna be elated and feel upset and angry if somebody tear it up. See, right there. But a sage wouldn't care one way or another. That's the difference, and you need to understand that. Well, again, you're not a sage. There's the reason why. And be angry when that object is what? Out of your reach or toward that you can't drive it. Why should you struggle over what? Material possessions. Right now, holiday season, y'all going crazy buying gifts and man, damn all that. Okay. My birthday, Christmas Eve. I could care less about Christmas. So when my birthday over 12 o'clock, see ya. Y'all can do what you want to do. I'm out. I'm only celebrating because it's my birthday, not because of the holiday. Understand that. I don't do holidays. When these are all what? Manifestations of what? The self, which is also where? Within you. These same material objects are perishable and cannot bring abiding peace and happiness anyway. The supreme innermost self reality is all living beings. And watch this, and of all objects in creation transcends the temporal, which is the physical manifestation. Therefore, when anything, watch this, comes into manifestation, what happened? It has to go out of manifestation. If you're born, you're going to die. The deeper reality is unaffected. The spirit ain't changed one way or another. If it's enlightened, all good. If not, man, whatever. It's going to just do it again. It don't care. That's again. Let me wrap this up. Now, with this wisdom, you should live what? In a detached manner, meaning accepting all human beings as your kin, children of God. I'm not problem with that. Spiritual brothers and sisters, that concept, since they are what? All manifestations of who? The divine self. You should strive to what? Better your conditions, self-improvement, to promote what? Truth, justice, and peace, Maya, while keeping in mind that your innermost self is not in any way affected by the outcome of any of your actions or the conditions and situations you may find yourself in while in the physical world, be they adverse or prosperous. Again, good or bad, shouldn't move the needle. But we say that a lot of us does just that. All right, here we go. Oh man, you should always what? Strive to succeed in all your endeavors in life while you're in the physical form, dependent on and not dependent on the outcome of your works as a source of what? Happiness and satisfaction. You live your life to your best ability. You get out it the best you could. It don't make it. But if you think one minute you're happy, next minute sad, that's the roller coaster. You don't want that. Smooth it out. It's okay. But smooth it out. This ain't good. No, that's a rough ride. Smooth it out. Okay. Put some shocks on that thing. Knowledge of self is like the shock absorbers in life. All right, I'm almost there. If you depend on your activities as a source of happiness, professional athletes suffer from that. When the bright lights go off, when they don't know what to do with themselves. So this is a perfect example. When you think your activities use your activities as a source of happiness, you are what? Bound for what? Disappointment, because even the most monumental, successful, and richest do what? Not guarantee happiness. In fact, if you are a person who has not learned to control the mind, the body, aka the senses, the wealth that you gain, what happened? A fool and his money will soon part. And the gain, what you gain, serve to allow you to get into more what? Karmic and there's that word again. If your wealth, the wealth that you gain will serve to what? Allow you to get what? Into more karmic entanglement. Man, the more money you got, the more things you're gonna do egoistically, satisfying yourself. So there comes the entanglement. That's the new word for cheating or doing stuff wrong. I had an entanglement. No, you messed up. Simple as that. I didn't want to get vulgar, but that's another word, entanglement. When you cause your own entanglement, that's self-destruction. That's a fetter. So watch this. When you develop more attachments, that's all you're doing, and experience more what? Disappointments, again, and frustration, then a less well of personality. You can't be happy. You got everything you crave, but you're still not happy because those things are not going to make you happy. Further, watch this. Whenever material wealth is gained, watch this. Oh yeah, is gained can always what? Be lost. And when you got it, you worry about keeping it. So you ain't never gonna be comfortable if money is your thing. You worry about how much am I got to check? How much I got? Done with that. I don't count money. However, watch this. The treasure of inner peace and contentment cannot be taken away if you learn the art of what? Controlling and knowing thyself, controlling your mind and directing it towards what? That which is true and real, aka Maya, God. I love that. Be happy in the present moment, and I am right now, and always give thanks for the what? The opportunity to work for who? God. Tell you I'm an employee. And leave the outcome and results in the hands of God. All I do is to give the lesson. I don't control how many views I get. I don't control who tune in. I just give the lesson. That way, it don't move the needle with me one way or another. I do like the views, though. Let's go. And the subscriptions. But that ain't what I live for. Now, watch this. In this manner, you will not be what? Affected by the success or the failure, again, of your efforts, but will always find fulfillment, and I do every day in what? The divine word I read, which is my action, Hotep, meaning I work for my peace itself, the service of humanity. You live your life with what? The feeling that you are one with God, the universe, and that all living people, animals, insects, etc., watch, and non-living plants, galaxies, rocks, etc., beings are what? Your family members. This wisdom is the basis by which you can develop universal love towards who? Humanity and the entire universe. Anyone who acts with detachment, born of self-knowledge, will be dynamic, qualitative, and inspiring. That's my mission statement. And engenders, as a sage engenders these qualities in others by what? By their mere, presence and teachings. Thus, the presence of a sage is sought after by all who what? Understand the teachings of the mystical spirituality, aka right thinking philosophy. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'm out and I feel good.